Alright, so now is the final stack of comic reviews. And this is going to look like more, actually it's not going to look like more of a big stack because you don't see the stack, but it's kind of funny how the stack seems to be really thick, really big, but that's because they have like 3 volumes of a series, then 2 volumes, and 2 volumes again, and 3 volumes again, so it adds up. But they're all the same series. But without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with... No, let's start with the non-image books. The 2 DC books. The rest are image, so it's kind of funny. Again, they add up when you have 3 volumes of one series. First up, and this will be the quickest comic review ever because of how much I have talked about this comic series, and that is Preacher. This is the final volume in the series. I go by the books. This is at least 2 of the volumes into one thicker, complete collection, and you might just see this in my personal collection or in a comic haul very soon, because this is my all-time favorite comic. Now, why haven't you seen it yet? Well, it's published by Vertigo. I'm trying to limit myself to just buying from Image, hence why the Image books are all for my PC, except for one. And even that one, this series it's just a different format that I'm showing off. So, all of them from my personal collection. But I'll get onto that after, why I am buying from Image specifically. TLDR is just that I've had the best track record with Image. But Preacher Book 6, my favorite comic of all time. Garth Ennis completely just knocks it out of the park in every way, shape, and form. The only downside I have is a huge nitpick, and that's that some story elements I wasn't a fan of, but even then, it was still interesting in the slightest because it was written by Garth Ennis, and it's usually it's not focused upon as much, which is nice. It's almost like Garth Ennis knew what we liked from this, what we were liking from the series, and decided to focus on that wholeheartedly, but also gave us a little bit of what he wanted, because again, this is creator-owned stuff. This is the perfect advertisement, the perfect example as to why we need to never ever let companies decide what is and isn't good to put in the comic. Rather, it should be the creator's full 100% vision put to paper. The only time it shouldn't be is if it's Goddess Mode by Zoe Quinn, where some edits should have been made. That's a good example because it just was there's so much in it, and it could need to take some out of it. And it was mostly dialogue. It was dialogue heavy from what I remember, and it was just kind of this is 30 pages when it could be 20 pages, and you still would garner the same result, if not a better result, because it is more concise. Next up is Heroes in Crisis. Kind of funny that I was just talking about how DC Comics and Marvel should give their writers full 100% control over the comics that they write, because I'm pretty sure that happened with Heroes in Crisis with Tom King, and that is the antithesis. And also what's kind of funny is it's DC Vertigo for Preacher, so both the same company technically. Well, same company, but technically both the same, no, it isn't. No technicality about it. I know it's DC Vertigo rather than DC normal DC, and I think they're different editors, if I'm not mistaken. I know back then when Preacher was coming out, Karen Berger was Vertigo editor-in-chief. I don't know if she was in charge of DC also. I don't remember. But anyways, this is the antithesis to Preacher. This one, I still enjoy it to the extent where it's at least entertaining. It at least keeps my interest. I don't ask too much for comics, and I heard everything bad about this book. I heard it was not good at all. Even fans of Tom King's writing hated it. But I think it's just one of those things where they overhyped it as being one of the worst comics of all time, whereas it's just not great. Very undercooked. Very much you needed some edits here and there kind of comic, but it's still interesting. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Unless you're a huge fan of Wally West, then, and other characters. Then, yeah, it's kind of annoying. Also, Harley Quinn is not written well at all in this comic. So Preacher, obviously 10 out of 10. That should go without saying. And this one I give like a 6 out of 10. Which is probably the best score anybody has given it that isn't already biased against Tom King. I'm in the middle. Him as a person, I don't like him as a person. I think he just has made so many mistakes, and people forgave him way too fucking quickly. I'm not talking as a whole. I'm just talking his fans gave him a pass way too fucking quickly, and now he's like, it's like bygones will be bygones. Yeah, okay, it happened a long time ago, but he's made some mistakes since Jay Lee. I'm not gonna look into it. Like I said before in another video that I may or may not have already uploaded. I can't remember. I think I did. I just kind of don't keep track of it anymore. Actually, I think what happened was I didn't upload that video. Could be wrong. Moving on to Black Science Volumes 1 and 2. So Volume 1, I had said, was kind of a slow start, and it got better as it went along, and stuff like that. But no, Volume 1 is just as good as the rest of the series. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Volume 1 is actually better. It improved drastically on a reread. And the fact that it gets even better as it goes along, based off my review, and I reviewed this comic not that long ago, I still had the same job I had. It was like, what? Maybe, I think it was November or December. I'm trying to think of like where I was, like what schedule I had because I'm a parent educator at a school, and you're in a high school, and your schedule gets moved around a lot throughout the year. So I'm trying to think of where I was. That's strange. I can't remember. I remember what class I was in when I started reading the series. No, wait, I think it was before. But I finished it, and I get more mad when I finished the series. It's 9 volumes. That's right too. It was December, so it had to have been November. That I'm thinking of right now. That's on my head. But that's what I remember. Like it was yesterday when it started getting really, really good. It was when I was on lunch break, and I was like, "Damn, that!" Like it was a bit of a slow start. Like not slow, like slow in the sense that I thought it'd be more fast paced than it was, and not that it has, like, it was just what I was expecting. I don't even know, honestly. It's been kind of a long time in that regard, but I'm tripping over my own words because I just need to get them all out right now. This series is awesome. It's everything Rick Remender fans have wanted. This is where it's a good book. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to add more to it, but I think it's just sometimes you just gotta say it's a really damn good book. Check it out if you like Rick Remender. And it's kind of redundant for me to say this because Black Science is kind of like, if you like Rick Remender, you definitely have checked out Black Science. But 8 out of 10. The problem with some of these books is that I've already reviewed them, and honestly, the most I can say this time around was that Volume 1 improved on a reread. That's all I should have said, but I didn't. Oh well. Not every video can be perfect. Alright. Then next up we have Sleepless, and this is a very interesting book. First of all, the story itself is pretty interesting, obviously. The story itself is pretty interesting in and of itself. Not obviously, I meant to say in and of itself. But also, this is one of those rare comics where, as I was reading it, I had certain criticisms. And I said, man, wouldn't it be nice if the book was like this? And then, as if it were magic, as if Sarah Vaughn was reading my mind, this comic turns into exactly what I wanted and more as it goes along. A lot of the dialogue was awkward. It was trying to be very reminiscent of how like people talked back then. I like that. I like authenticity. But it was also a bit annoying. Like, they really, really hammered it in there, and it was kind of dialogue. It was borderline dialogue heavy. But as the book progresses, I think Sarah Vaughn realized she only wanted this to be 11 issues long, so she was thinking, okay, let's start getting the ball rolling. And it gets rolling, it doesn't stop until the series ends. And once it ends, you ask yourself, maybe on a reread, would all of my criticisms be null and void because I now know what I'm going into. And this is a reread, actually, believe it or not. This is actually my third or fourth time reading this series. I don't want to say fourth. Third it just doesn't seem like it's enough. But third or fourth reread of this series. So why didn't I remember that it had been? That was the pacing of the comic. for the first few issues or so. I would say the first volume. Well, it's been a while. And I think I remembered more of more of this volume than that volume in this volume. But Sleepless is an incredible comic, but don't expect it to be a thrill a minute. It does have a lot of dialogue in it for the first few issues. Within the first few issues, not in it because that's kind of weird. But it does have a lot of dialogue within the first two issues, to the point where you might be like me, where you're like, I used to like this comic, or like maybe thinking like me, I might want to drop this comic. And I was thinking to myself, I remember I used to like this comic. What? Wow, like I used to like this comic. But as it goes along, it's a lot better. Nomen Omen, the tit for tat. At times, this is very investing. I'll show the covers as I review this comic. At times, it's the good, I have no idea what's going on type of story. But then there are times where you're like, my lord, can this book just make some just an iota of fucking sense? But I think what I need to do is reread this comic, and then I will like it a lot more. But as of right now, I still think it's really good. I think it's worth checking out, but I'd only give it about a 7 out of 10. The pacing is very uneven, too. Like, some issues were, like, I was done like that. And it made sense, because we're at this point in the comic. So the pacing should be more fast-paced. And then next issue would be super slow and dialogue-heavy and exposition dumps and just, like, editorial... More edits need to be made for that issue, for it to be more concise and more consistent with what came before and what should come after. Very uneven pacing. That's why I give it a 7 out of 10. And it was like, it got annoying, honestly, at times. And it was never that comic that I was super excited to read each new issue, but I was invested enough to check out what happens. Like, it was kind of like a book that I kind of would be like, oh, this one's next. You know what? Let's read Sleepless first, and then we'll get on Nomen Omen. But still good. Enough. No, it's still... none of these so far, the image books that the image books in my PC, have I said, man, I could have gotten this book instead. Why'd I get this book? I just got this book because I wanted to get it. You know, never have I had a regretful purchase. Never have I had buyer's remorse reading any of the image books that I've had on my PC, or in general. Some of them I've liked, like Mother of Madness I didn't like at all, but even that one, I feel like on a reread I may just find it to be so bad it's good. But when I read it when I first read it, it was just bad and boring. Boring bad. It was more Batgirl by Brendan Fletcher. The worst parts of that series, when it's bad, boring. I can't give a good comparison. Basically, the other comparison I was gonna make is it was not so bad it's good like Man-Eaters, also published by Image Comics. It was just bad, boring. All right. Next up, we have Middle West, and yet again, I'm going to go through all 3 volumes as I reviewed this comic, and this is just fantastic. Everybody should check this book out. It is well worth the purchase, either purchasing the hardcover or the complete collection. I would say get the complete collection if you don't care about the format of the book, because it's the exact same dimensions as this, the original trades, but it's at a more affordable price. And I think you get every last page that was in the hardcover. I could be wrong though. But this is an absolute knockout. This is the reason why I check out Skottie Young comics. Now, why do I say that? Well, the first 2 volumes I had read a long time ago, thanks to my local library. That's what got me into Skottie Young's writing. And honestly, I have yet to find anything that's as good as Middle West. And I said that for the longest time, and now that I've finally been able to finish the 3rd and final volume of the series, I stand by that. I stand by that claim. I have yet to read anything that's as good as Middle West by Skottie Young. This is Skottie Young at his absolute best, and that is saying a lot, because Skottie Young is a well-renowned writer. I Hate Fairyland. I read the first volume of it a long, long time ago, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I actually dropped it after the first volume. I think because back then I would, like, if it didn't completely wow me, I would drop the series. which makes sense. I think I knew that I Hate Freyland was coming. No, I didn't know it was coming back. And also at that time, I was looking for any excuse not to like a book that I could buy myself, kind of thing. That's how long ago it was. I think now I like it though, if I give it a second chance. All right. Last but not least, we have Invincible. The first 13 issues. Why they couldn't have just given us one more, a few more issues, like maybe make it like 15 or 16. Well, actually, how much would it need to be? I don't know, but I feel like they could have given us one more. Because 13 is such an awkward number to give for a hardcover complete collection, ultimate collection at least, that is. And honestly, it would make it, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to add too many more pages to it, so they would fall apart, and they wanted to give you that nice $25 cover price. But anyways, this is so damn good, and I did not expect what happens at the end of this hardcover to happen so quickly. 9 out of 10. Oh, and Middle West gets a 9 out of 10 too. So I'll go over them again. Just the scores and what the book is, obviously. Preacher, 10 out of 10. Heroes in Crisis, 6 out of 10. Black Science, so far, gets a 8 out of 10. Yeah, with the 9-volume series, I know I'm not going to finish it all in one sitting, per se, so... Like a 3-volume series, 4-volume... anything more than 31 issues, I won't try and finish... Like, I'll do like 1 volume per month, if it's more than 31 issues. Sleepless... I guess that's 7 out of 10? Yeah, 7 out of 10. Or 8, no, I say 8 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10. Because Nomen Omen gets the 7 points. So it gets 7 out of 10, so what sense does that make? Oh, and I'll do this. So 7 out of 10 for Nomen Omen. And that's the entire series, too. I'm not going to go by volume. It's not Black Science, where it's several volumes. Like I said before. It's overall 7 out of 10. And there's no volume of Nomen Omen I liked more than the other. Same with Black Science. Again, except for my first read-through of it. But even then, it wasn't too far off. Then Middle West gets a 9 out of 10. One thing I will say about Middle West, one little addition. I do think that the ending was average, was a little bit overhyped. But not overhyped. I would say it was hyped as being something that I should have known it was never going to be. The way I thought of it anyways. And finally, Invincible, a 9 out of 10. And that, as I say, is that. We are losing daylight, so I'm going to end this video.